This tutorial is going to walk through the application focused on feature and position evaluation. What this application is going to do is take 20 of the competitors that we found in the major market trends analysis, and we're going to test our opposing forces, meaning some creative positions, functions, or features that we think are going to be unique against the top 20 closest represented businesses. So as we go into the application, it's going to require a couple fields from the research that we did prior. First field is going to be the top 20 brands that represented the greatest threat. So I did put that in the memory already. So we're going to pull those in from our YumLoves. Those will be the top 20 brands. You can go in and change some of these as well. Let's say like we'll take this one out, and I'll enter in hippies as an example. So it'll bring that one in now. And then we'll bring in some opposing forces. That'll be what we highlighted in the major market trends analysis. Let's also say, let's pull out homegrown goodness, and we'll put in plant-based protein from fava beans. That's specifically unique to us as well. And what's going to happen is these strategies here are going to be evaluated against every one of these companies. It's also going to ask for the market narrative, because based on what shows up as still unique to us, we're going to start rewriting how that market narrative can sound when we know what our unique levers are. So let's delete that top piece here and dive in. Now this is also kind of a click to get started. It will do a lot of the heavy lifting for us. It's really going to create the answers for us, so you won't necessarily have to analyze all of the data yourself. What it's doing is it's taking some descriptions that it writes based on our market narrative. So it'll take these terms, create descriptions based on your market narrative, because that is an important part of this foundational strategy. And then it is going to test each one of these features in this top table here and give it a grade. That grade's going to be between 1 and 100, just like a normal grade that you get in school. So a 55 is actually not that great. A 10 is really horrible. And the table below for each brand, this is going to be for RX Bar, it'll give you an explanation of why. And what it's doing, it's not only just taking the content from their websites, but it's including the market bias against each of the competitors that we're up against. Same with kind. Now, some brands actually might score very well in these spaces. That's why I used hippies as an example. They should score very well. Epic Provisions, they get a 70. That's actually a fairly good score to get. And it'll tell us why. Emphasizes the traditional methods and quality in its product lines. That's family first craftsmanship. Now, it might not be a family owned business, and that may be why they didn't get something like a 90 or a 95. Okay, so as we're going through here, you can see I'm already through 12 of the brands. What we're starting to create is just some market saturation. Some brands will rate higher, some are lower, but what I'm trying to figure out is what few features are left that really stand out from a white space opportunity. What are features that we are testing? And these can be price features, they can be creative positions, they can be like really specific functions of the business that you want to leverage and market. We want to see like which ones of those are commonly scored as low. So say like plant-based protein, specifically from fava beans. This might be something where everybody scores quite low in that space. And if that's true, that gives me an opportunity to see what my narrative sounds like if I really turn the volume up on that. It will, after it goes through all 20 brands, give you a complete table to kind of show you all of the scores all stacked up. And once that's done, it's going to highlight which are our winners. It'll also highlight which are our losers. What are the things that everybody's currently leaning in as well? So you can see Orgain here, they actually stack up quite high as a 70. And that's why I like to treat this data as almost a saturation chart. They also score high on real people with real food. Strongly emphasizes transparency and clean ingredients. I want to understand if they are unique to the market or if this is common. This idea of real people with real food, you can start to see that there's actually a lot of high scores in that category. So it might not be something that I can confidently stand out against. And it might cost a lot of dollars to try and outspend those brands to own that position. Okay, so as we go through, this will be your complete grade set here. This is a table and it just gives you all the scores of all the different brands against all the different features. Sometimes I like to take that into an Excel document and do some data manipulation. But here's where it starts to break things down. The things that are going to be somewhat common in the market within these competitors are going to be the farm to table and the real people with real food. That's where everybody got the highest scores. The things where everybody got the lowest scores are going to be plant-based protein, specifically from fava beans, and it's a female-owned business. So you can take that data and start recrafting the narrative. So what I do here is I still get my options. I can use any of these based on the data that I see in any of those tables. But let's say that the protein from fava beans will be my preferred unique value. And the second one, I'm just going to take it as is. We'll go with a female-owned business. And again, I can combine any of these to recraft what that could be. And you can redo this as much as you want. So we'll do the plant-based protein from fava beans and a female-owned business. Once we submit that, it's going to start giving me options. And the options are going to be how I define that opposing force. It'll give me a short paragraph. The first paragraph is going to be focused on the fava beans. The second paragraph will be focused on the female-owned business. The third paragraph option is going to be based on those two elements combined. And as always, when there's an overview, you'll see the play button. This will read the options to you. So this option 1 here, this is going to be a short paragraph based on my narrative that really turns the volume up on that first opposing force, which is going to be the fava beans. The second one will highlight the female-owned business. And again, really leveraging the DNA from our narrative, so that's still critically important. And what I want to do is pick which one I actually like the most, because this is your brand and you want this to sound like your voice. So let's say, since I think it's going to be a unique advantage to highlight the founder, Haley Jeffries, in this brand, and we'll find ways in which we can highlight her in the mood board creation and the visual language creation. We're going to grab that, and this will be the way I want to reposition the business. And this will also be something, this opposing force, I'm going to actually copy that and put that into my memory for the system. So we'll do that right at the end though. So I'll hit submit, and now it's going to give me two things. It's going to rewrite the narrative and really leverage this idea of the business led and owned. It's vertically integrated by a mom, creating the products that she wants for her family. And it's also going to break that down into a single paragraph. And that'll be my brand value proposition. That'll be the first thing that I can actually leverage in the market as a copy and paste. And with the unique narrative, just like we did before, I'm going to want to pick that closing statement. So it's going to give me 5 options. So taste the goodness from Haley's farm in every bite. Haley's snacks make healthy eating easy and fun for everybody. So this, you can kind of see, it's actually highlighting Haley much stronger than it did in the first brand narrative, because that starts to be something that we can really lean into. That's DNA that we can stand on that becomes very hard to replicate. Let's pick this third one here. And now it's going to give me a public value proposition. This is something that I can talk about publicly. So while a narrative is an internal document and really just kind of something that you want to test with possible customers on your business, the brand value proposition, this is something that can actually live on a website or live on a LinkedIn profile. This is something that you can copy and paste, and you can start to see how this can be put into practice. And these are all things I'm going to copy and paste into the memory, including the opposing force definition. That's the one I'll start with. So I'm going to take that, go up to the very top and click on my profile. We'll make sure we're in Yum Loves, and that'll be my opposing force. So I think that's at the bottom here. We'll put that there. Save it. Go back to the application. And now I have this history. I can always go back to it, grab those things to copy and paste from the bottom. Those are going to be my outputs in the bottom. Take the value proposition. Go to my profile. Always make sure you're on the right profile, and that value proposition can go right there. Now I can edit any of these here as a reminder, and same with the market narrative. I can go in here and I can edit this. And since I keep on taking this title out, I'm going to take that out for good, so it'll just pull that in normally. Always make sure I update the memory. And then I can continue on and start going into some customer insights. This will be in the next tutorial. And if I uncover anything in here, I can always go back and retest those features and positions in this application.